That's all right, because it's yours. I can just get you to do it now. That's fine. That's fine. And I was like, this is not possible. It can't be possible that I've lost another. Anyway, it wasn't there. It really wasn't there. Again, the vortex. No idea. I never found it. I've never found it. He was happy to let me draw on the spot, so that worked out really, really well. Then it was time for the computer testing. This is basically, it's like a half hour. I think there's a lot more you can do, and I think each specialist has their own preferred set of tests. They're not diagnostic tests. He was very clear to say, this computer test, this is not a diagnostic tool. It is just a tool. I will make the diagnosis separate from that, but it is a tool that gives me more information about your brain function, and it will help me build a more accurate picture, you know, just one element. So I sat down to do the test, and you have to position yourself in front of a computer screen, which is going to flash up a task for you to do. It's like you hit the space bar when the, oh, a little flower there. You hit the space bar when the things that flash on the screen meet certain criteria. That's how it works. So you have to position yourself before the testy thing starts. You have to position yourself. It's got this light blue head-shaped shape on the screen, and you have to make sure that you're like sitting within that shape, and then have your hand in place. And he goes, all right, don't move. You can't move from that spot, because if you move outside of that, the camera will not register properly the micro-expression. It's looking for micro-expressions and movement and that sort of thing. So suddenly I'm like, I don't know how to be still, trying really, really hard. Okay, sat there still with my hand on the space bar ready. He goes, all right, yep, that looks good. So it's a 20-minute test, by the way. It's a half an hour all up when you include the putting the head in the spot and it checking your all good, that sort of thing. And then when he actually starts, when you're in position, he starts the thing, and it starts off with a little YouTube video of like what to do. This is your instructional video. And there's a little cartoon girl, probably because he had to select if I was, you know, what gender I was to start with. And I imagine they have matching genders so that people can identify with the cartoon better in order to learn the activity. So mine was a girl, and she was in front of a little laptop, and things were flashing on the screen, and explained what you needed to do. When this happens, hit the space bar as quick as you can. So blah, blah, blah. And it does a little demonstration with the cartoon lady, and she's watching, and then two things flash on the cartoon screen, and I hit the space bar and paused the video. Realized, like, I knew it was video. I knew it wasn't actually the test, but anyway, sorry, because he sits behind. He sits behind and watches. Also, during the test, some distractions happen, like the printer goes off and he goes in and out of the room a bit and that sort of thing. Anyway, for this portion, he was sitting behind me watching what I was doing. Pressed play on the video again and kept the thing going. It explains it a few times. I worked out how to do it from the start, but it needs to just reiterate, I guess, because some people take a few more times to work out how it works. As it got a couple more minutes into the video, where the little lady is watching the the computer screen, and she's doing, you know, the demonstration, thing starts flashing up, and the thing happens, and I hit the space bar again and pause the video again. And I was like, I'm not doing very well at this already, am I? And the psychiatrist piped up behind me, like with a bit of confusion in his voice. I think he was like, does she, like, not actually sure if I really, A, misunderstood what was going on and thought this was the real test, or B, is she that impulsive? Anyway, he was with a confused voice. It's just a demonstration. You don't have to do anything. And I sort of was like, yeah, I know. Yep, I worked that out from the start. So that was the point where I was like, I think I'm going to ace this test. Went through the video. You have to sit for 20 minutes and do one simple task. So simple. And you have to pay attention and do it to your as best, to your very best, the whole way through. Now, when I like this and focus, I can actually do pretty well. But for 20 minutes, that is like sweat dripping down my forehead by the end of it. After the test was finished, they print out the results, and he sat down with me. It was the end of my second hour session with him, and he printed out the test results for me to take home. Just glanced at them. He didn't even really look. On the results, it's got a little like the cold to hot, sort of like when your car is about to overheat thing, whatever that's called. It's got one of those. And there was a little needle pointing all the way around, right smack bang at the end of the red. I think that's really all he looked at. And to be honest, I think he probably had already worked out that he collected enough information by that point, because it seemed more like just a formality. Anyway, he gave it to me though. It's good, useful information on there. And I was pleased, and it sounds funny, but I was pleased to find that I am in the 99th percentile as far as impulsivity is concerned. 98th for hyperactivity, which is, I guess, moving and micro expressions and all that. When I was able to focus, my speed is good. It wasn't slow, but I wasn't able to maintain that focus consistently, because the variation between when I was focused and when I was fatigued and not focused in my speed, the variation was huge, and I was in like the 93rd percentile for variation between the focus part and the distracted part. So overall, it shows that I am in the 98th and 99th percentile for hyperactivity and impulsivity. And do you know how affirming that was? To know that the impulses that I have fought my whole life, because I've always valued self-control, those impulses, the force is strong in this one. Those impulses are way, way, way bigger than 99% of than most of the population. So my experience of life, where every ounce of energy, every minute of the day is poured into impulse, what do they call that word? One day I'll talk about words and how they just fly away out of my head. Impulse, holding in my impulses, not acting on them. That is basically what I'm doing all the time, every minute of the day. And it was really nice to know that, yes, you do have to work harder at this. Your brain doesn't have the same regulatory capacity as 99% of the population. So basically what I took from it is that I got an A++ for the ADHD test, and I am exceptional at ADHD. So that's my very, very long video about my story, and no pressure to watch it. Oh, you've already watched it if you heard that. I'll write it at the beginning. No pressure to watch this unless you've got 20 minutes of your life to waste and really, really are considering going and doing the assessment. He didn't need to do a third session with me because he felt that he had enough information from that. But just so you know, those are all the things that you might have to go through. The talking part where you tell all the things, the gathering of the information from your history, and then maybe some like testing, function testing and computer testing and all of that. Some of it was quite fun, and some of it was like pulling teeth. But I'm so glad I did it. The end.